Welcome to Real Conversations with Patricia Baranovsky-Schneider, the podcast that takes you on a journey around the world to meet some of the most inspiring and accomplished individuals. Discover their stories, uncover invaluable business lessons from their paths to success, and gain exclusive insights on how to apply their strategies to elevate your life.
Hello and welcome to Real Conversations with Patricia. I'm your host, Patty Baranowski-Schneider. Today I'm joined by Nigel Sandridge. Just call him Sand. So welcome, Nigel. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's going on, Patty? I'm good like God with an extra O. Been busy being all day, but I'm here, locked in, focused, ready to take over the world with you. My life limits T.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Your bio mentions that you've lived 1,000 lives already. So can you share some pivotal moments in your journey as a visual director and how they shaped your perspective?
Miss Ma'am, I think I've done a little bit of everything. I'm a journeyman, working
Jack of
man.
all trades, huh?
I was gonna come in here and a boiler to show you I'm rolling up my sleeves and getting to it. But yeah, I've just done a little bit of everything. I spent 7 years in the military. I went to film school. I went to business school. I've done about every dirty job in the world. I've done about every regular job in the world. I spent time as a journalist where I got to like interview and speak with a lot of people and just, get to get in the mix and just see how different things work and function. And I think all of those different assets kind of helped me in my journey towards film, just in like being able to like think outside the box with my characters, get a little more dynamic, understand their point of views, and make it more about the world you're trying to create and less about yourself. It's hard not to like, focus centrally on, you know, just how you perceive things,
Yeah,
especially as an artist, because a lot of the magic comes from how you perceiving these things. But
right.
when you can take that step outside your own lane and just see what other people have going on, I think a lot of that attributed to like me just having a more or a different approach, I would say, to how I execute my stuff.
That's awesome because it is hard to put yourself in other people's shoes and think how they think. But it's actually funny because I do marketing, and that's one of the things that I love about it is trying to. It's not about me; it's about who your audience is. It was kind of like, what are they thinking? How would they feel? How can I, So I totally get that. Now tell us what inspired you to start NoMargins Media. How does your company aim to paint artists and creatives in a different light?
Okay, so what inspired me to start my own company was just I never wanted a company. I never wanted a company. I never wanted to work for anybody. I never wanted any of this shit, to be honest with you. I'm allowed to cuss a little bit, just a little bit.
You're allowed. It's all
You
good.
know
We're
what I'm saying?
adults.
But in essence, when I went to film school, I just kind of came in with the mindset that I wanted to work with artists, I wanted to do music videos, and just kind of mind my business, just like, focus in that role and see what it got for me. But like through just like working alone and trying to get stuff done, I realized that I was writing a lot of checks that my ass couldn't cash. I was
That could be a big problem, but yeah.
just like, over promising, under delivering on the quality of stuff that I wanted to create. And I wasn't necessarily getting in rooms and making friends because I was such a I'm competing against everybody here type of person.
Right,
Yeah, I felt like, I just wanted to be an individual and do all this stuff on my own.
right,
Um, Through starting a company, I originally just started a company because like when I went to film school, it was impossibly hard to get into the industry. They don't teach you like, when you go to any university, I feel like this is for any degree. When you go to any university, they don't teach you like that it's not easy to just walk into your career field out of uni. You don't just
right,
like finish uni and then the next day start your dream job.
right,
So I noticed that a lot of people would just like instantly get out of uni and have to go find a fallback degree, career, something else that they have a passion about. And I was one of those people. I was one of those people. I tried to go and do like a business degree right after.
right.
Like, oh, maybe I just need to be an adult and just get the other degree
Just
just
in
in
case, yeah.
case. Um, yeah, but in doing that, like I kind of realized I fucking hated it. Like, I liked the aspect. I liked the journey of getting to learn about how other people think, especially
Right.
like with the thought process of what marketing is in business.
Mhm.
But I just still didn't want to work with anybody.
Right.
So
No, I get it.
like
I work with
now
people, and
that
half the time I wish I didn't, but yeah.
yeah, so like now that I'm learning these things about myself, I just figured the best bet was just to start my own media company
Right.
and then see where it went from there because, why not? People
Yeah.
go and they submit films and short films and pieces and all these things all over the world all the time as individuals. I was like, why not just try to like, put this all in the realm of what I'm doing because I was doing so much stuff. I would
Right.
meet other creatives, you know what I'm saying? And they would say, "Oh, what do you do?" And I would say, "Oh, well, I'm a director, but I'm also a photographer and I build sets. And I
Yeah.
also got these things. And, I would have so many things just everywhere that people would be like, yeah, you got to pick one. No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I didn't appreciate that. And one day when I was just going about ideas about like how to do the media company thing, just listening to an interview, I heard the words no margins or marginalized, and I was like, no margins. That's what I am. I don't want to be marginalized. Like you can't put me in a box. You can't put me in a box. So
Yeah.
I started the company and I started just working on things and looking for other people who didn't want to be put in boxes.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because I go through the same thing. It's like when people say, I'm always trying to evolve, change the time. So I do like IRPR marketing. Then I started digital marketing, website design, podcast, and everybody's like, you're all over the place. But I'm like, you kind of have to be nowadays. You have to really just branch out and see what's out there. And what you say about the jobs is funny because I was kind of on the opposite in a way. Like I started as a receptionist and I had to work my way up the ladder, but I saw people, coming in through right out of college and even like my kids, they were bartending or waitressing. I mean, the bills got to get paid, so you got to just kind of suck it up and do what you got to do. But there is no, it's true. Everybody tells you get a college degree and you'll just go land the six-figure job. That does not happen unless your daddy's the CEO. That does not happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's completely true, and I think that like that's a lot of the journey is like people negate that you still got to roll up your sleeves and get to work and put that effort in just in other aspects even after you finish uni or even after you discover what your passion is. Like
Mhm.
luckily when I went to uni, it fully unlocked that potential to see all these prospects and what I could do.
Right.
I would say that helped me more than anything in like my path in life. So going actually gave me the mindset to understand this is what you want to do, bro. So
Right.
you should probably do it. You know what I'm saying? And then it also like just being in the military and just doing just a monotony of random jobs in my life kind of taught me the discipline to be like, okay, well, if you're on a quest to follow your dream, you got to do some shit. You got to go roll up your sleeves. You got to go work this job, but still go home and work on your piece. You got to, you know what I'm saying?
But at
Take
least
this
you
extra
did the
money.
work as opposed to somebody who just, you know, I do know some people who knew a person who they just come into the job and they've got this high-end position. You have, like I always said, being I started as receptionist, I mean, I could tell you like how to change the toner in the copy. I mean, I got my hands, I did it all. And you have a lot more respect for that. And you obviously treat people really well because you've been there, as opposed to someone who just had everything handed to them. So that does help you grow, which is great.
Yeah, so because it's interesting, like, I think that everybody thinks of like their goals and their visions as like this like miraculous place where everything's the best and this land of milk and honey. And the honest truth is that like behind every job that somebody wants to do, there's a person doing it that hates it.
Exactly.
And
Grass
if
ain't
you
always greener on the other side. Yep.
yeah, so if you fully understand that, then you fully understand that, you know, in this world that we're all cogs fitting in the system, we all have to help in our own ways and contribute how we can, right? Sometimes you just gonna be a cog at a place and it's just your turn to turn. You gotta
Yeah.
be the best, sharpest cog in that position for that time period
Yeah.
because what you're doing is you're taking in everything from the cogs around you. You
Right.
learning, you processing, you building it where you want to go. So
Right.
then when you slip out of that one and you fall into your next one, you're already churning, you right in there,
Yeah.
you going. So like, I was going on these sets and I remember like I worked so hard to get here. The first set I ever got my hands on, it took me maybe like 2, 3 years after school to get on the set, right? And I'm talking to kids. It's like just, oh, my dad is the lighting company. And it's just him, his kid, and a bunch of his little skateboard friends in the park. He just took a couple friends. And they're all here making more money than me.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I've been shooting, I've been editing, I've
Yeah.
been doing my whole video, I've been doing all this. And these kids just, dad said, you pick five of your friends and
Right.
come to shoot with me. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like that was one of the things that made me understand that like, there is a lot of like nepotism in most industries that you really want to do, but your goal is to show people that you're the person that knows the copy or you know the tone
Right.
that you know how to
Yeah.
change. You got to learn these things just because you're competing against people who have a
Yeah.
heads up
Yeah.
in
Well,
all
even
industries.
yeah, yeah. I remember something as simple as, yeah, I mean, going back in the day, like way before computers and all that stuff, I remember doing like a new business presentation where we had to physically print out these huge papers, blah, blah, blah. And the CEO would come in and they're like, all right, we need this done in 20 minutes. And I'm like, that's not going to happen because I know it's involved in making this presentable. You're looking at least 4 hours, so having been in that position, you can kind of educate people like, oh,
Yep.
that's not how it works. Nowadays, yeah, you just click a button and bam, it's there, but that's not how it was years ago. Uh, and tell us, as someone with expertise in many creative fields, how do you approach blending different art forms like visual arts, music, and filmmaking into your projects?
So the way that I like encompass all of my pieces into each other is because I think it's the marketing brain, it's the business brain, to be honest with you. Like I think, the thing I learned when I was going to school for business was that like the easiest way to do it is to take all of your hobbies and find those connectivity spots.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Find out how it fits in your supply chain.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like and figure out how you can mandate those parts of your life to something that could be like enjoyment and
right.
then work its way into business. Or, you know what I'm saying? It can
Yeah,
just be a genuine curiosity or a thing that's your escape from being focused on where you're trying to go. And
right.
then you can roll it in. Like, so when I started making clothes, I've been making clothes since I was a kid. My mama told me when she was a kid that she made clothes every day before she went to school. And
Wow.
I thought that was so crazy. But my whole life, I've just been designing jackets. I've been making my own pants. I've been just,
Cool.
if I don't like a shirt anymore, I'll make it cool for myself. Like,
Nice.
most of the clothes I got on right now, Kat, most of the clothes I got on right now, Patty, I've made them or I've done something to
Wow.
them. And
Wow.
it's just
Made them
one of
your
the
own.
things that are kind of rolled into my brain. So like since I've done that, I have a proof of concept. When I'm talking to a business, I've already done this where the business is like, oh, we're doing custom clothing. I've already done custom clothing. So
Right.
now I'm working with this business. I learn all the things. I learn the fabrics. I learn the GSMs. I learn the right materials that you need to get. And then I'll bring those back to my media company because guess what I always need? Costumes for my artists. I
Right.
might start off with a collaborative with a
Right.
business. There we go. Now we connected across the board. This artist looks more important. This business looks important. Now, since we building across the board in that aspect, right? All the clothing stuff is just an extra thing that I'm learning. So now when I need to build clothes, I already know how to build a jacket. I already know how to build a shirt. I already
Right.
know how to design a shoe because I've learned these assets over here, but also I've built up the people around me by
Right.
bringing those connected boards together. So like one of the things that I always do is like it got to make sense for me and
Right.
it don't got to make sense for me at the same time.
Okay. Just has
So
to work, right?
it just has to work because, like, right, while it has to make sense, what I mean in the context of making sense is that it has to be something that is fruitful and beneficial to everything else I have going on. But then it also has to not make sense because that's the fun part. How can I bring these worlds together?
Right.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like when they told me that I couldn't be a photographer and a director, right? I was a photographer in the military. Then I became a journalist. Then they
Wow.
started making me do videos. Like those worlds weren't supposed to be together. It
Right.
was the biggest kerfuffle when they combined them. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
we worked that out. So you telling me out here in the real world or just in civilian life that like we can't mesh this and that and this and that because they're not supposed to meet. Marketing would teach you that these kids are 10 years ahead of us.
Right.
Like the world is moving at a abysmally fast rate right now. Like it's overwhelming and it's terrifying. But that's why there's so much room for opportunity as well, because these kids are going outside with their iPhones and they making a song, they making their own clothes, they vlogging, they doing all this stuff,
Mhm.
and then they going and playing in the sandbox. Tee, tee, tee.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm
Too
saying?
crazy. I
So
know.
we lose a lot of that aspect with like,
Right.
just being adults and trying to survive and trying to figure out how to make these different elements of life work for us without going and being miserable.
Mm.
And it's like you gotta have that whimsical kidness about yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta take 10 years off and get that knowledge to understand that these are all future things, like what you were saying. When you start getting into podcasting, probably everybody probably called you crazy. You know what I'm
They still
saying?
do, but yeah.
Yeah, I did a dissertation on how podcasts were gonna be the next wave of like media. And I remember that was like 6 years ago. And my teacher told me that that was the craziest take she ever heard. 2 years later, Joe Rogan, $100 million contract with Spotify. You know what I'm saying? And then like
Yeah.
now people started making real money off of podcasting
Right.
and just the connectivity of podcasting. It's like one of those things where it's like I had to be a stupid kid and be like, I enjoy podcasts. Podcasts have fun. I love listening to podcasts. Podcasts good
Right.
time. And people also like podcasts and just pay attention to
Right.
not just me liking it, but the people around me, the people around them,
Right.
what the discourse was in the world, and just like kind of add that to me. Like
Yeah.
so,
Well, it's crazy now because like these are on YouTube and like me, I don't always have time to read or watch stuff. So sometimes when I'm driving in my car, I could listen to things. And even everybody nowadays has Roku and real TVs and all that stuff, and that has YouTube. And my sister the other day is watching TV and she sent me a snapshot. She's like, "Look what I'm watching." It happened to be one of the podcast interviews, and I'm like, "This is so cool." So it is like another branch, but I totally get how we have to mix the kids in us nowadays because you are right. I see these kids, they're 4 or 5 years old with their own phones. I'm like, this is insane. But they know how to use this, they know how to navigate in it. Like you say, they're building stuff, they're making stuff, and that's the new world we're living in. And we have to learn how to kind of keep up with the changing times. Yeah.
yeah, it's the unfortunate truth that we can't be the Spencers we want to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes I want to sit here and I want to shake my fist at the clouds
Exactly. Yeah.
because I
Well,
remember such a simple time,
I know,
but
right? But it does all
adaptability.
overlap, because like even as crazy as it sounds, like I've been doing marketing and all that for 35 years, but I was also a licensed skydive instructor for 15 years. But that kind of branched into where'd you go?
I just fell out. That's the coolest thing ever. Why we ain't been talking about that for the
I
last
know,
15
right?
minutes?
But it worked out really cool because I had the marketing brain. So I was trying to help market them at the same time. But then, like, I used to make events, I was creating events and making fun stuff. Like every holiday, we'd have costume jumps. I mean, you could just make it fun and exciting, but bridge the two together. You have to learn to, like you say, have your passions, but also have the business mode. And sometimes they're on two separate ends of the planet, but you bring them together and magic happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that like people think of this so chess and checkersy,
Yeah.
like everything's a strategic move that they
Right.
lose the authenticity that makes all this stuff interesting.
Right.
And it's weird because there's like a weird realm that we're balancing on right now where like there's people who aren't in touch because they aren't paying attention to authenticity.
Mm.
And then there's a point of being so in touch that it's not like keeping the representation or the, I would say, respective assets of an organization
Mm.
alive. So the thing I like to attribute it to is the Wendy's page, Twitter, circa 2014. If anybody was there, you know that Wendy's was the first, like one of the first companies to get real meta on the internet and kind of have a personality and like build a brand around having its own like sassy little personality. And now that's the world.
Yeah.
Now that's the world.
But
Like
they were crazy at that point. That's what everybody thought. But
yeah, they were so crazy, but it was
yeah.
like they were taking these young kids and they were listening to them go and be like, hey, people don't talk like this on Twitter. People don't, like we
They do
talking about
now.
mixtapes on Twitter and this and that, and they
Yeah.
made a mixtape. Like, and it was like these are the things that like help with the marketing
Mm.
because, you know, in terms of things, what it does is it makes it more prevalent to a new generation,
Mm.
and you already have that standing generation who's not on Twitter. They're not
Right.
looking at this. They
Yeah.
somewhere else where they never even have to see this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and you play the same company to two different places
Yeah.
with different personalities.
Yeah.
It's a stretch and it's scary to me because like, I just saw the the Super Bowl, as everybody's watched this last weekend, and Duolingo has been going crazy for these last like couple of weeks about the halftime show, or not the couple of weeks, but the last couple of days, about the halftime show, and it's like it's so crazy to watch this world transition from like a place like Duolingo being super professional and like, oh, we'll teach you how to speak Spanish, to teaching you how to say like, hey Drake, I heard you like them young, as a as a marketing employee. But like,
Yeah. It
it's
gets
finding them
attention. Yeah.
balances.
Yeah.
It's finding those balances that can catch the attention of like, just different realms of people. And
Right.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
interesting to see what this is all becoming.
Yeah.
Like in real time being in the mix is just a lot.
It's insane. But the world's a big place and everybody has different interests, different personalities, different ages, different genres. I mean, it's fun, but it's scary.
Can I ask you a question? All right. So, Patty, how do you, as somebody who has all this experience in so many different fields, how do you maintain your authenticity throughout the process?
I guess it gets a little crazy because I always say I'm different than everybody else because I know people who do IR, do PR, do marketing. I do all three. Some people work with a specific niche, either technology or healthcare or whatnot. I've always been on an agency side where I've worked with clients around the world in every niche under the sun. So I get told, well, you sound all over the place. You got to stop that, pick one. But it's who I am. It's what I do. It's what I've been doing since right out of high school. It's like I put myself through college while working in this field. So and then I'm always evolving, changing, doing different. What's everybody else doing? What could I do better? So people could say she's a psycho. She's just all over the place. But that's what makes me stand out and what makes me different. And I don't, like I always say, everybody I work for, it's not about me, it's about them. I want them to succeed. And I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make that happen. So it's not, I'm putting a price tag on everything. I'm going to do what I have to do to get this job done, and I want you to be all over the news. I want every time you turn on a TV or radio, I want everybody to know who you are. So I guess that kind of makes me a little different than everybody else. And I don't, I guess I don't normally, shouldn't say I don't like look for permission. It's just like, just do what I do and either love me or hate me, but either way, I'm still here. So that's
No,
kind
I
of it in a big
understand.
nutshell.
No, I can dig it. I think that's the most honest way to do all this stuff is because like, especially me, for example. Yeah, but I think for me, it's one of those things where like when it comes to the authenticity, it's exactly what you said. I want everybody around me to win way more than me, but I'm gonna be on your ass about it then. So
Yeah,
like,
I got stuff to get done. It's gonna happen.
yeah, like I put my hands in so many different pots. I can do 1,000 things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But if you want to win, you want to be successful, you want to be great, you have to have a team of people that you feel like you are vying for as well as they're vying for you. So
right.
I remember like when I first started, like I was telling you earlier, I was Lone Ranger. I was trying to do everything by myself and trying to be this strong, like I'm gonna be the best and nobody's ever helped me. That shit is stupid.
It's exhausting and you're not gonna
It's
get anywhere.
long, it's
Yeah.
stressful, it's sad. I want to do so much silly shit in this world. Like I got so much more time, like to like go learn a pogo stick or something. And I
Pogo
want to,
stick. Wow, haven't seen that in
yeah,
decades.
yeah, somebody's got to get professional at it and never
Yeah.
use it. Maybe me. And
There
it's
you
like,
go.
I want to get there just by, being able to help enable the people around me.
Right.
And I think, when I'm doing things, I'm doing all this stuff with a purpose of it being something beneficial so that I can always help other people. When I was growing up, my mom was a connecto queen. She can go in any room, she could hear everybody's conversations. She could put you with anything or anybody that you needed, and it will help you grow and get better. And I pride myself in being one of those people where it's never been about what you can do for me, but how we can benefit each other and what I can give you. I always want to give more than I take from anybody. And I think that like in realms of that, it's like I can be authentic. If I say fuck you, that's stupid. It's not because I'm hating on you. It's
Yeah.
because I meant that with my heart. That wasn't good. my better. You know, it's not me
Well,
trying to
there's
be
no hiding how
yeah,
you really feel. So there you go.
no,
I'd rather you be honest.
don't got the time to lie to you, and they want to lie to you in this world. Everybody wants to mince these words. Everybody wants to sit here and tread on eggshells. And I think that you have to, you have to treat people how you want to be treated, but you also got to be honest. And I would want somebody to look me in the face and tell me that I need to go harder. I got friends who look me in my face and tell me I need to go hard. I be going so hard sometimes I want to pass out. Somebody call me, "Hey, bro, is you going hard? If I ain't got nothing for you, guess what I ain't doing? I ain't getting to it. If I
Yeah,
can't tell you 5,000 things I'm doing, am I really getting to it?" And it's like, I don't want to overwhelm myself and I don't want to overwhelm other people, but I want anybody I'm around to have a passion or a purpose and know where they're going in life because you innately get the realest form of a person when they know what they want to be. They ain't got to be there, but they just got to know what they want to be. And we'll learn together. We'll fuck
yeah,
up together.
yeah,
We'll wake up together. We'll argue. We'll be the best of friends, be the worst enemies, but we will grow together and we will learn about life together. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
This is a worldly experience more than just making money. This
yeah,
is life. This is the people you gotta hopefully see next to your deathbed one day. You want to know that when they look at you, they like, dang, you taught me so much about this life, not just making money together. We learned about life together.
yeah. Well, it's funny learn about life because when I was doing skydiving, I was so passionate about teaching everybody. And I always just took everybody under my wing like they were my kids and I did everything for them. Anyway, long story short, I had an accident. I was unconscious, so I don't know anything. But from what I was told, it happened to be Memorial Day weekend. And everybody, the hospital was like understaffed and they kept telling everybody, it was like 3 floors of all the skydivers that were coming to support me because they just respected me so much. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I would have been like awake enough to know that. I'm like, that is so sweet. But at least you made an impact and we were in it together. You put each other's lives on the line every time you step out of the plane. So, we learned it all together, we did it all together, and they actually appreciated it. And that's what you want in life, people who can kind of lean on each other, help one another, and be there for you, at the end of the day.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is this is exactly what it is. And I want to formulate a new industry. I call this the new industry because we gotta like the people we around again.
Yeah, for sure.
And a pizza party at the office ain't gonna do it, people.
No.
Unfortunately, like it's a pizza
And
party.
but you spend more time, more hours in a day with the people that you're working with than you do at home sometimes. So it's like you have to
Yeah.
be like them.
No, and that's true. So it's like I've been just trying to find out different ways to just curate what's fun for the people I work with and what's interesting. Right now, my favorite thing, I've been a sticker boy my whole life. If I work with you, we don't do business cards anymore. I give stickers out because a sticker
It's
is way more interesting. People will take a sticker and put it on
yeah,
something important way
book or
faster than they'll
whatnot.
keep a card.
Yeah, yeah.
Marketing 101. Now I'm at the point where I have keychains. I learned how to 3D print the other day, Patty.
Wow,
Boom.
nice.
Brain 2027 added it to the mix. But like that's a collaborative thing now I can do
Right.
with different organizations I work with. And now when I'm working with organizations, I get them a keychain. And it's like, how would you feel if you show up to a meeting and your logo's a keychain from the guy you trying to do business with?
Right. That's
Tell him
awesome.
I love him. Because it
But
means you
that is
care about my
awesome.
stuff like I
Yeah.
care about your stuff.
Yeah. I mean, especially if they're just like you say, given a business card, or everybody every time I went to meet those little squishy stress balls, it's like, do you really? I mean, I've got like buckets of them. It's like that's not enough. You
Yeah,
need you need something
build a
else.
fun house with those.
Yeah. Wow. Now tell us, spirituality, it's a unique interest of yours. So how does it intersect with your creative process or storytelling in your projects?
Right. So it intersects in a lot of ways because I just think the world is so magical. Like if you want to witchcraft me or something like that, I'm gonna deny it. I'll rebuke it. And but
No.
I just think about life sometimes, and I just like this can't be just like can't just be your own doing.
Yeah.
Even if you want it to be, a lot of it's you willing it into the world, but who are you asking to will this into your
Yeah.
world? You know what I'm saying? Are you like, and I think I talk to the world a lot. Like when I want something to exist for me, like I can create a world where it comes to me, but it's also me putting in that work. And I feel
Mhm.
like, spirituality has been an important part because it's like I'm not religious, for example, but I believe a good prayer works if you meet God halfway by doing the
Do
work
the
as well.
work. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like in essence, I'm doing the same thing. And I think that most people probably should find a thing that they can do the same thing through. It's
Mhm.
like, because the other day I was a hair model, right, Patty? I was a hair model. I jokingly said a couple weeks ago, I was like, I'm gonna be a hair model one day. Ta, 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 ta. And then, and
And
then I
bam, there
get
it is.
I get hit up by a company randomly. We need you, your hands, modeling. What? Me? You never even seen my hands. How you know what they gonna look like?
That's
But it's like,
crazy.
I made that thing exist in my world. I wanted a guitar. I was working with this clothing brand doing merchandising. Found the guitar in there. Found the
You
guitar in
got to
there.
rub your shoulders on me, man.
Yeah, man. Like so, like it's like a lot of the stuff that I've put in the permission, I've given myself permission to accept about myself. I feel like I've gone and I've strategically, unknowingly put the effort in, but the
Good.
world has also been like, well, since you're working hard at this, let me give you
Might as
that
well
thing
help
you
you out.
asked for a while back. I asked for the guitar years ago, but I just got it. You know what I'm saying? I asked for the hand modeling thing
Right.
months ago, but I just got it. You gotta just,
Do the
you
work.
put it out into the world. And then
Right.
you go about your life trying to make the best world that you can. You got to
Right.
create heaven on earth for the people around you. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
And while you doing that, the world will be like, hey, since you've been going hard lately, here's a key time. Since you've been going hard lately, here's a interview with Patty. Like,
There you go.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like that's so cool to me. I'm very blessed to think that like whatever that is has been helping me a lot because I'm trying to be grateful about every situation I'm given. I want to move like I'm deserving of every position I'm put in. And right now, I feel like nothing can shake me.
Awesome. I agree 100% though. You do good. We're here for a reason. Do the best you can for everybody, not just yourself, and put in the work. I love it. Now, your optimism and high energy, it seems to be a big part of who you are. So how do these traits impact your leadership style at NoMargins Media and your collaborations with other artists?
Oh, it's a catch 22.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It's the best thing in the world and it's the worst thing in the world. Because when you have a personality like this, it's very vibrant and I can attract a lot of energies, but I can attract a lot of energies. So like
These are overwhelming.
it's overwhelming. And two, I would say there's a thing behind having this type of charisma where like people will meet you once and then they build an expectation of what they want you to be. And if you're not always that, then you let them down. So I like to say I'm innately mean. I'm an innately mean person that just happens to be optimistic. And it's not because I think I'm really mean, but it's because it's just a foreground warning. Because when I tell you no, you need to understand that no is gonna be with a smile. And it really is a no. Like, it really, when I say nah, like nah, I'm not doing that shit. Like, no, it's no, it's no.
Yeah.
Now I continue to be happy. But like people don't know how to grasp that because it's not like a regular thing I think you deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's a lot more strategy. It's a lot more like, hiding your cards. But I'm very hard on my sleeve about all this stuff because I don't know how else to be. Like I want to be cold, but you can't.
Yeah.
You can't when you want people to flourish. When
Yeah.
you want, you know what I'm saying? So
But it's
it's
yeah, it's good because you're being honest, and you don't, like you say, you don't have to be mean. It's just I still love you. It's just not gonna happen. But anyway, so what do you want for dinner? I mean, you could play have it both
yeah.
ways.
It's literally just that. And it's like through learning that, it's taught me a lot about who's for me and who isn't for me.
Right.
And I just go into life with, "Eh, you're just not for me. Most people shouldn't be for me because this wasn't for most people to begin with.
Yeah.
It was for me. And then
Right.
I found my tribe of
Right.
people that I had to make this for as well. And then they'll find their people and they'll grow it from there. And then
Right.
they'll find their people and they'll grow it from there. And everybody will have their own messages or ways
Right.
that they want to deliver how to get to life. You know what I
Right.
mean? And if I just sit back and stay with the people who understand, hey, sometimes Sam might come in sleepy. He might fall asleep in the corner. Don't bother him. He ain't gonna wake up. Or he
Yeah.
might come in perked up. Breathing fly today. And they just know like, hey, he breathing fine. Let's take him outside, make him
Yeah, I
touch a
see
tree or
his
something.
chest moving. He's alive. That's all.
Yeah, like like when you got people like that around you, then it makes it easier to navigate this world, and it makes them more, I would say, proficient because they get to see real honesty about
Mm,
stuff. I'm never going to try to tear you down, but I want to
mm,
empower you while I'm also telling you what's not right. You know
right,
what I'm saying? You can't just tell people what's wrong and then go away.
right.
You also got
That's
to
not lifting
remember
them. Yeah.
to provide or to inform them of the value that they provide to your life as well, because they
Right.
also provide a value to your life, which is why they're around you. We
Yeah.
get ungrateful because we put ourselves in these positions of power. I don't put myself in a position of power. I'm the boss, but I'm not the boss. So, in terms of who runs my company, it's always going to be considered me. But at the same time, I want my team. We don't call them employees over here. It's my team. Like
But
I
that's
want my
good. Yeah.
I want my team to feel just as involved on any project that they're involved on.
Right.
They ain't got to touch every project. And that's one thing I had to learn was like you can't put everybody on everything because
Mm,
everything's not for everybody. Same way you can't be for everybody. But like my team, when they're on a project, you better want that. You better go for it. You better
mm,
treat it like it's yours. It's your name on it more than it's my name on it.
right.
They're gonna want to see my name sometimes. They're gonna yell at me if it's wrong, and that's fine.
Mm,
But I want you to be passionate about it, so I'll go to bat for you as well, so I
mm,
can feel passionately about it and try to make anything that you want to come to fruition happen.
mm,
And that's the way I kind of always thought about it was because I don't want. I got an editor. He's never had a job. He's never had a real job. Somehow he
mm,
just slipped into my hands as
mm.
one of the best
Meant
assets
to
on my
be.
team.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. I got a co-director. She's been running neck and neck with me
Wow.
for about 5 years now. And it's like I want her to shine more than I want me to shine.
Mhm.
Because I found her because she was terrifyingly better than me. Like
It was meant to be, though.
so it's like I'm putting these people on pedestals. So when I'm putting them on the pedestal that other people put me on, boy, you better litter in front of me. I'm sorry. I see hypocrisy in everything I said 15 minutes ago. Because I do. I put them on a pedestal and I'll be like, yo, I shake the little stool. I say, hey, you better be great because you told me you wanted to be great, right?
Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, that's awesome. Now tell us, what challenges have you faced in the creative industry and how have you overcome them to establish your own unique identity?
I think I've faced every type of challenge you could face, and there's 1,000 more challenges to face in this creative community.
Yeah.
Um, the biggest challenge to me, I would say, is getting people to understand what you're about. So that is the thing. In the military, we call it the command message. In the business world, it's like having a what's it called again? The it's right there on my tongue.
Um,
It's not called a command message. It's called a tagline.
Tagline, or it could be, here's the whole thing. Here's a tagline, which is what you're going to
The
be
quick
attracted to
word that
first.
explain the quick quote that explains
Headline,
what your company's about.
not a
Your
headline.
company's about. It's called I can't remember what the
Oh,
word.
yeah. Now you're going to get me going. I know what you mean, though. It's the one liner of what your business is about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one liner about your business. Let's just
Right.
call it that. Your business one liner. You know what I'm saying? This command message in the military out here is the one liner. And I think that's the hardest part in the self-discovery of what you got going on as a creative because like how do you turn creativity and the money is a hard transition.
Mm.
Everybody wants stuff for free when you don't know who you are. But when you know who you are, you can say no a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So like even today, I was meeting with a guy and he was telling me like what my business is about. And it was great to hear somebody who's trying to do business with me tell me exactly what my business is because I've gone through phases where I will be trying to like get a music video, but they haven't seen me make any music videos. So I can't say I work on artists technically, but then I want to go work with this business over here, but I never worked with an actual business before. So I have no proof that I've actually worked with these businesses or anything. Um, and it's about finding out how to make that world that you're trying to create a real idea, a real facet. When I came into this with the idea of no margins, it was like now you're already fucking yourself. You made yourself so broad that how do you explain to people what you do? And over time, luckily enough, I've been able to put myself in different rooms and different situations and put my team in different rooms and situations that have all grown and helped mold us into this multimedia company that we are right now. Because I've watched myself sell to somebody and watch their eyes go just
And you're
glass
like,
over,
what? Yeah.
just they're just not
Too much info.
too much at once. But when you know what your overall orb is, you
Right,
can target to different characters and different people and just
right.
different genres. You don't set them on anything they don't need. You don't
Yeah.
promise them anything they don't need. You know what I'm saying? And that was the hardest part, I think, of all of this. Like, I don't care about if other people didn't want to work with me. I don't care about,
Mm.
the the um, the not getting put in different rooms because you didn't meet a person yet type of
Right.
thing. It was the first understanding what your message was because I'm a charisma cannon. Foo, 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 foo,
Mm.
foo, foo, foo. I can get in any room and have a conversation, but it's
Mm.
just about what that conversation pertains to. And I always wanted to make sure that, like, I didn't just go and fill people's minds up with filler and never have anything that I talked about with them. I didn't want to go be the life of the party, but then you go home with the girl that you really want to be with.
Right.
Like, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to be that. I should be the
Yeah.
girl you think at the end of the night, I think
You
let's
should be
start
the
the
one.
music.
Yeah. The one that leaves a lasting impression. Yep.
Yeah, so like finding the ability to leave a lasting impression is important because even if you aren't like necessarily the biggest personality, it's about the ability to leave a lasting impression with what you do. And that I think that was the hardest part for me initially was kind of figuring out how to showcase myself in the way I needed to showcase myself.
Right. Yeah, it's all like a work in progress. Progress. The whole, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to build up. I get it. Now tell us, what advice would you give to aspiring visual directors or creatives who are trying to navigate the complexities of the modern art world?
So the advice I would give to any visual creative, any director, any creative director, any artist, any painter, any dancer, any singer, any plumber, any try
Anybody
cook,
out there?
real
Yeah.
estate agent, Little Rouge, right, whatever you're doing,
Right.
is I would say to take yourself out your comfort zone and try a bunch of shit. Other than that, don't really listen to me. I'm one of billions of humans with a bunch of ideas that I don't want to preach on you. You got to find your own journey, but you can only find that journey through just taking yourself out your comfort zone and
Right.
trying these other things, being in these other rooms, meeting these different people, going and learning what you do like and you don't like, because that's the biggest blockade
Right.
is ignorance.
Yeah.
It's the inability to actually know what you're about. A
Right.
lot of times we find that focus on these things in our lives, like pop culture or what I'm saying, the latest
Right.
shoe or the latest this and that and keeping up with the Joneses
Mm.
because we haven't really found other things that we enjoy.
Right.
When you find other things that you enjoy, it kind of spreads out your ability to focus on a thing and take it so crucially that your life will end if this
Mhm.
thing doesn't work for you. Whereas then you can find those other happinesses, you can find
Mm.
those other joys, you can find those other things that give you purpose and direction. And then
Mm.
from there, those will all push you where you need to go.
Mm.
None of this journey has ever been straight and it never will be. It's gonna be a bunch of side
Mm.
quests. So you got to embrace the side quests and all the additional points and characteristics they're gonna give you. It makes you a lot more interesting when you get to where you are
Yeah. 100%.
or where you need to be.
Yeah.
Because most directors ain't done a quarter of the stuff I've done to live the life I've lived, and it's always giving me a foot up because now I can approach it differently.
Mm,
It's the same with anybody going into any field. You can come in with a bunch of different stuff that feeds your assets and that you've learned that
mm,
will help in parallel with you growing in your field.
mm,
They don't want you to know that. Most people won't teach you that. They want
no.
to box you in
Yeah.
because we need quotas filled on humans in the workforce in certain spots and stuff.
Mm,
And that's part of the system. That's
mm,
cogging it on. But
mhm,
as you cog on, learn where your cog's supposed to fit.
mm. No, I like that because I remember back in the day, I worked with two different people. One, at this point they wound up being in a business office, but one was a CPA. Now you know what the college tuition, the studying and everything to get your CPA, only to realize that they didn't really like it. Another one became a lawyer, passed the bar, blah, 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 go through all that to realize they didn't like that. They wound up working in a business office. So you could have saved a lot of time, money, and effort if you would have just branched around and seen what you actually enjoyed in life before you just threw yourself into one thing. So I agree 100%. Try out, don't not so much take risks, but go outside your comfort zone and see what you might like outside of what you think you like. You never know. It's a big world out there.
Well, that's
Yeah.
definitely true. I have a question for you. I like to bounce questions. What is one of the biggest regrets you would say that you see from yourself from earlier in your career?
Biggest regrets in my career. Um, well, I guess my situation was I was a young single mom of two and I needed the job. So I had a job and I was busting my ass working here, 18-hour days and blah, blah, blah. And I was in a group, say you were a team of 10. And I was pretty much doing everybody's work while they all left and went home. But I couldn't say anything because I needed a job, couldn't afford to get fired. I had medical, blah, blah, blah. This went on for years. I mean, I stayed at this job for 16 years. I eventually moved up the ladder, but it took a long time for someone to finally say, okay, let's try promoting her. But I would never speak up. And, I remember another girl who was higher up than me, and every year she was funny. She came out with a newspaper every year, circled what her job role would normally get paid, went right into human resources. Okay, it's my annual review. This is what my job is going for elsewhere. You're either going to give me that or I'm going to go find it out there. Every year she got these astronomical raises. Meanwhile, normally the new jobs don't pay what the market is really paying, like if you're in a position. And here I was for 16 years making like pennies on the dollar, but I didn't want to say anything. I probably should have just grew a pair and just went in there and spoke up and said, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm worth. You're going to have to pay me, or I could do less hours someplace else and make that. So that would probably be my biggest mistake, but can't look back in time, just move forward. Um, well,
Happens to the best of us.
yeah, no, I mean, it was a good job, for the most part, because I kept it for many years and I had the medical and I had all the good stuff. But people will use and abuse that if they see you're just a quiet little mouse doing your job. Yeah.
hmm
But now I guess for you, tell us what's next for No Margins Media and for you personally. Are there any like exciting projects or goals you're working towards that you'd like to share?
I got so much stuff going on. I got 1,000 projects going on. See, I had to tell you because you got to get ready when they call you out. You got to shake my podium and you got to be like, hey, you said
What's
you was
going
doing
on?
it. Like, yeah, I'm doing a lot of things. So, currently. Currently, I'm getting ready to do a fashion show with this gamer event called Format GG. It's the
Nice.
largest gamer-based rave in the UK, maybe even in the world. They did a fashion line this year. I helped with the fashion line for the last 2 years. The last year, I got one of my friends who also runs a clothing brand commissioned by them. So we're doing a fashion show for them this year to showcase their clothing. We just finished designing the character for their company. So we built a whole outfit for them. We customized the whole outfit for them. I have 4 music videos coming out from the team this year. It's gonna be big Pikachu's year to shine. Pikachu's my
Nice.
I'm putting her in the air like Simba,
Nice.
for the year. Because I really want people to see how good she is as well. She's a very quiet person. She to herself. Our personalities balance just because I'm this loud and she's that quiet. This year,
Nice.
I want all the fucking respect on this woman. She's very
Nice.
talented. She's great. She's creative. It's her time to shine. I'm focusing on that right now. I'm not even
Nice.
gonna lie to you because we uplift our people over
Mhm.
here at
That's
No
good.
Margin. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Um, I have a poetry event set up with another brand that we're doing a cross collaboration with because I'm trying to combine artists and poets. I think that, there's a divide between being musicians and being poets, and there's a
Mm.
world they both exist in. So I'm trying to curate a room for that. I have another event set up with a company called Spotlight 161 that brings up emerging artists. 7,000 people. And I might potentially be shooting TEDx this year with my
Nice.
company. So I'm not fucking around.
Apparently not. You're keeping yourself plenty busy. That's awesome, though.
I want
You'll
to,
say, like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, right?
yes, unfortunately, I just gotta pick my head and drink my water.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you definitely have lots, but I like that you're in so many different things because you're definitely not bored, that's for sure. And you're following your passions. There's nothing wrong with that.
From so many
Nice.
different angles. I want everybody around me to be able to achieve their dreams, and
Mhm.
luckily they align with mine, so we all win together.
Awesome. Now,
Yeah.
anything else you want to talk about that we didn't already cover?
We're doing some magazine submissions. Yeah, we're doing some magazine submissions. And to be honest with you, I mean, I would really want the viewer of our cool ass conversation to just go check for themselves. I mean, if I haven't sold you off the charisma alone, and yeah, if you stayed this long and you ain't said, let me just go look up No Margins Media, No Margins underscore media on all these little socials and see what it's about, then like I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
Really, you got to check it out just because of the high energy. Well, tell them where they can
yeah.
find out more about you and all your good stuff.
So you can find us on the socials at no margins underscore media. You'll see a bunch of cool little pictures. Each design is different. We make stickers for every different design. Every year we make multiple different designs on stickers. So you might see different logos in different places, but there'll be occasional little no margins right in the middle of the screen. Just for your viewing pleasure. You can find us on Instagram, you can find us on TikTok, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Facebook. Not getting Twitter. People are mean over there. Don't got the energy for it. I'm trying to create a world where we can help each other and be constructively great, not tear each other down. I
Right,
don't need that. So I'm not gonna be there, guys. If you see
right.
a page over there, don't
It's
even
not
care
me.
about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you're limited with your space too, what you could put on there anyway. So tell it
yeah,
all loud and clear everywhere else.
yeah,
Right.
I will limit myself to not being there. I don't need to play all these games. I don't think none of
Yeah,
us needs to play all these games. So
right.
when you find me, you'll find me, guys. I'm not hard to find.
I'm going to
But
include your contact info anyway, but yeah. Nice. Well, thank you again for being on the show. Again, that was Nigel Sandridge, or just Sand. So thanks
yep.
for listening to Real Conversations with Patricia. Never miss an episode by subscribing to the channel. So thank you again.
Thank you for listening to Real Conversations with Patricia, talking with some of the most brilliant minds on their journey to success and their recommended strategies. Please leave your feedback and visit pristineadvisors.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Feel free to let me know your thoughts, suggestions, and anything else you'd like me to cover. Together, we can make success happen for all.